Ryan came up with the concept of doing the hammer, and he's reached out to a guy who does a phenomenal job. And then also with the pins that we're doing this year. This year we did little pins that they can put on their backpacks or take it home, put it on their their lanyard, whatever it may be. We have enough pins for each and every wrestler for the 8 teams. So something that we're hoping, each kid will remember coming to the event and they get to take something home rather than just the top 2 teams this year.
Welcome back to the North Florida Wrestling Show. I have Christopher Elam on to talk about the Border Wars, the K-8 Battle for the Hammer that is going on in Fort Walton Beach this Saturday. We're here to talk a little bit about the teams and some of the matches up that we're excited for and what it brings to the area. Chris, back again on the 2nd annual Border Wars. I am excited about it. How are you?
I'm good. It's exciting too. This is our 3rd tournament we hosted. We did the Warzone the first year, and as you said, we did our inaugural tournament, dual tournament last year, and we're doing it again this year with 1 extra team. We did 7 last year, 8 this year. So hoping to make this a yearly thing. I grew up, and as you well know, being a high school coach and growing up too, is the dual tournaments just have a different element to them. Really gives that team aspect. I know we specifically like to do a pin chain. I'm sure we're going to see some other teams bring some other fun stuff to pass around, but it gives, it kind of really shows that camaraderie that you don't really see at an individual tournament. It's just a whole different level, and it's a different type of excitement, if you will.
Oh, dude, I absolutely. Last year's was so exciting. Like, I remember I decided to go like last minute, and kind of got my kids on one of the secondary teams. But watching some like Niceville's A team and Well Trained go after it, watching our team and Grappling House go after it, there was some really tight matches, and it was getting like exciting. The kids were getting hyped for it. I'm not gonna lie, the kids were getting pretty lit, as they would say.
Yeah. One thing that comes to mind specifically for our NWA team and Well Trained is it came down to the very last match with Spartan and one of their really good wrestlers too, and there was a last minute back and forth that went on, and ended up coming down to that last match, and we ended up beating Well Trained, and with that win that sealed us in for first place, which was a really big deal. And you saw a lot of coaches excited and a lot of emotion coming out of not only Spartan but the other wrestlers on the sidelines.
Yeah, I saw we had to bump up the weight classes up to about 160 this year to accommodate some of our bigger boys. I don't know what's in the water around this area, but we got some big 8th graders.
Yeah, well, I don't have it down here in Niceville with my kid. Christopher, he's not wrestling, but he's 70 pounds as a 7th grader. So if I could find some of that Alabama runoff,
Hey, you gotta talk to Spartan's dad. You gotta talk to Spartan's dad or Gifford. They got the magic formula over there. Them kids got big. Yeah.
Yeah, I know they've been doing a lot of weight training as well. Christopher's running around the soccer fields, which doesn't really help with his metabolism. But
Hey, he's got a
some of
gas
these
tank.
kids are real small, and then some of these kids are really big, and I I gotta find out where to get some HGH or whatever these kids are on.
But man, I'm glad that we're doing it again, because it's so cool for these kids to look, especially like, so it's K-8, so it's a couple years apart. So a lot of these kids can grow up into it. These kids that are in the K first grade, second grade range, like 4 or 5 years, they'll be like, oh yeah, I was on the first one, or I remember when we won the first belt, or when we won the first hammer. This is so cool, and I'm so excited to see like some of these kids that were there last year. I hate that I'm not going to be there. That's the one thing, like, because there's a lot of kids that were there last year that were just getting beat up on, that this year have like put in the work, not only in the last couple months, but over the summer, that I'm really, really would love to be able to see, 1 year removed from it. I'm pumped. I'm pumped to see some of the photos from it.
Yeah, not only that, but the kids that didn't make the team too. So I know we one that comes to mind to me is with Merrick. Like he's been coming out here almost like a year now, and I don't even know if he's done a tournament yet, but he's gonna compete this weekend. I know he's one of your favorites. Trying to help him just get up that rope we have in the gym. So it's gonna be really exciting to see him wrestle, and then hopefully he gets himself a win, or at least a memorable moment to keep them mind and keep them motivated moving forward. Because I'm a big proponent. When these parents come and ask me, they're like, hey, we've been wrestling for 2 weeks. When should we start going to tournaments? Maybe 6 months, a year. Like, what should be? And my first instinct is right away, feed them to wolves, um, because as you know, and a lot of these coaches know, practices can suck sometimes. Like, it's hot or it's cold. Coaches are running them up and down, and that sucks. And you really want to go and get off the sidelines and get into that event, whether it's football or any other sport, specifically wrestling, and go compete against another individual, because it's their chance. It could be a chance. It's their first tournament too, and you go out there and you win that match and you get that dopamine rush, um, and then it makes you want to stick with the sport rather than just grinding it out at practices, which can be hard at times.
Yeah, and I love the community aspect of this as well because all these teams are fairly close. Like we're a couple hours drive from each other. We see each other at tournaments a lot. So, for me, I know I'm gonna get psyched to see, Merrick get that first win or, get that first memorable moment like you said. But, I get just as excited seeing kids from other teams, that, we've seen grow up and they finally get that one moment and they're like, oh, cool. Like they're turning that corner.
Mhm.
Like it's such a cool growing event for the wrestling community that we're trying to make over here. I think it's really special. I'm so glad that y'all had that we're putting it on for a second consecutive year. I like the hammer too. I'm not gonna lie, the belt was cool, but the hammer, y'all did a good job. That might need to be the mainstay, I think.
Yeah, shout out to Ryan. He's been doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff. I've been kind of doing more of the doing the recon, reaching out to the teams, doing the fundraiser, the raffles. Um, but we've really utilized the talent we have around us, and Ryan's a wizard with PowerPoint, and he's way into it with the weight classes and whatnot. So he's really been talking to the coaches, ironing out that, and then reaching out and getting the awards too. So we were thinking, what do we really want to do? Do we want to do T-shirts? Do we want to do singlets? What is it? And Ryan came up with the concept of doing the hammer, and it's reached out to a guy who does a phenomenal job. And then also with the pins that we're doing this year. So last year we did rings for first place and second place. This year we did little pins that they can put on their backpacks or take it home, put it on their lanyard, whatever it may be. But instead of it just going to the top two competitors, every participant, we have enough pins for each and every wrestler for the 8 teams. So something that we're hoping, each kid will remember coming to the event and they get to take something home rather than just the top two teams this year.
That's pretty cool. 'Cause like you said, they kind of hold on to it, remember, and they see each other over the years because they like to keep the same pins on the same backpacks all the time. So I haven't been in the club scene for quite some time, so I don't know where anybody's at with weights because these kids grow like weeds. Right? I feel like I haven't seen some of them for like 2 weeks, and then now they're like 4 years older. I know one matchup, but I hate that I'm missing this one. I hate that I'm going to be over in with the high school over in Panama City that weekend. But I really am excited to see how Kendall and Steven shake out because Steven kind of caught back up on her a little bit. I will say the last time they wrestled, we are very aware that Kendall decided to choose bottom, which everybody knows she likes to go on top and ride those legs, but she has been trying to work on her weaknesses. So I know that she's going to be coming to win that one, but I'm excited to see how that shakes out. Any matches that you are looking at that you know of that are looking to be excited or teams that you are thinking are going to be the top two?
I mean, Grappling House, they got second last year in like in that three-way tie with Gulf Coast and Well Trained. Well Trained's not going to be there this year. They're going up to Tennessee for another duel. So I know Gulf Coast and Grappling House are going to be two of the top teams. We also have Coastline coming this year, which we didn't have last year as well. Panda had a smaller team last year. I don't know if they filled in all their holes this year, but if they do, they're going to be a really top competitor too. So every team's going to be really tight. Um, I don't have a specific match that jumps to mind off the top of my head. I've been like kind of like you, a little out of the day to day scene, going to the tournaments. But I know I got my two kids that are wrestling. Most, the littlest one, Landon, who's 6 years old. He hasn't wrestled in a tournament, so really excited to watch him and see how he does. And then also, Absolute chose to come out of retirement yesterday and is going to wrestle for one of the Grappling House teams with the team that has 5 girls. So she'll be the sixth one. So I'm going to be like low
That's
key
gonna be a
rooting for
tough
that
team.
team.
Yeah, that's
I'm
gonna
gonna
be.
be I'm
Hey,
gonna be
that's gonna be a tough. Yeah, I don't know. You don't need to be rooting for them. That's gonna be a tough team already. Like if they got
yeah,
some of the
yeah.
girls that I think are on it, then that's gonna be not an easy team to wrestle against for sure.
Yeah, yeah. And then she was wrestling Emma yesterday as well, who was one of the wrestlers on our team at 60 pounds as well. And they were going back and forth too. So, that's the only matchup that I know that she has at 60 off the top of my head, between Emma and her. And so, it's going to be a girl on girl match, so that's going to be a really good one that I'm really excited for. And that's also another coach's daughter too. So, it's gonna it's gonna be fun rooting against old NWA for being on the Grappling House girls team.
So one thing I was curious to how I know that we lost a couple teams. They got their own things going on. We wish well trained all the luck in the world up in Tennessee. Go up and represent this area well as they always do. But how did Coastline get added into the bunch? I love that, by the way. I love
Mhm.
seeing that we're adding teams into this like these events and creating like a little community. Hopefully we can continue to grow stuff like this. But how did Coastline get added into it?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, so we had 7 teams last year, so we did a round robin format, and with our venue, we're going to be using the room that was right next door. So I think it's 150 feet by 75 feet, something like that. So I think we could probably put like 6 mats in there, maybe next year. So essentially, the goal is like, hey, we want to keep adding teams. So we had the same group that we had last year, and then we were thinking about another team, and I remember Travis from South Walton. I remember that he had a team a little while back. So Ryan reached out to them and see if they wanted to participate, and they were all about it. They committed right away and said they wanted to come and wrestle out the tournament. So the intent is to keep growing each year, keep adding those teams. I know we had the Fort Walton Beach Bombers, which is right next door. I think they're a little bit smaller program, but definitely want to have them in future events. And then Pace as well was another one that came to mind. So that's 2 more teams that are pretty much in the local area. And then you have a couple that split it off in Alabama. I know Alpha Elite, I think is what they're called, is not too far from us. And then I know Ryan Blair also reached out to some southern team in Georgia and Valdosta. The name's escaping me right now, but there's definitely enough teams out here to hopefully maybe do 10 next year. Add another mat. So I'd put 5 mats and then get 10. So as we slowly continue to grow and learn from mistakes or just learn along the way, the intent is to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you were just at that Fort Walton Beach High School one that I think had what 20 teams or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so teams are willing to travel. So hopefully we'll get 10 teams and then continue to grow, and then who knows, maybe we can rent out both of those rooms and have 14 teams, and kind of like the Deep South does it, where they have all these teams that come down. Hopefully we can get like a Southeast, or like
Version of
regional
that.
type of it.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe
that's just
reach out
how.
to expand out to Jacksonville. We've done some tournaments in the past with them, so there's definitely it's growing down here. It's becoming a hotbed, and that's what we want to continue to create with not only this dual tournament format, but the camps that we've been putting on as well.
Yeah, it's. I really like that you're putting on this in this area as well because there's no real middle school wrestling. So a lot of these guys that are like these kids that are in that middle school area or in the elementary area, they don't get as much um like structured action. Like I know I was
Hmm.
very lucky to be back in the day in Panama City where we had a full team season, got to do just dual meets, and then had like an IBT at the end of the year. It wasn't much, but it was something. So this is really a big step in the direction of giving these kids that probably don't get any matches during the winter time, which is generally our season. Gives them something to look forward to. Yeah, dude, I could totally see this thing growing too. Just like we were talking about putting the work into the craft. Like you said, you're worried more about making it a great experience for the ones that are there, and
Hmm.
that extends it to other people who are like, oh, that is really cool. I really do, especially this area. There's so much potential to get people down here. We get these. I mean, hell, it's like what it was like 75 degrees today. You know, I remember last year it was cold and raining, but there's a gambler's dice throw that it's going to be like 80 degrees for the duels, and everybody has a nice pleasant day right afterwards. So
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
good.
And I like the dual format too. It's something that is different than what we do all last year. So I think that also gets people to travel rather than just doing another IBT. And we're not married on the K through 8 thing too. If we get enough middle schoolers that continue to grow. I know that's one, I guess, piece of the market that we're trying to grow at NWA is get more middle schoolers. We got a lot of young kids. We could definitely run a K through 5 tournament and then a 6 through 8 tournament and just have more weight classes, on that rather than like a 15-pound jump. We could start doing 5s and 10s and do it either the same day or do it the following day and just rent it out too.
That would
Um,
be that would be cool. Hey,
but
it's gonna keep growing. I'm excited. I can't wait to see all the pictures. I hate that I'm missing it, but I know that the kids are gonna do a great job. Well, thank you, Chris, for coming on and telling us a little bit about it. Man, good luck running it. Yeah, I know that's never the fun part.
well, I don't know. It's not at least last year it didn't seem as hard as I was more over prepared or worried about you know it falling flat, but it ran super smooth, no issues. It's a great venue. There's plenty of parking, whatnot, and you know, I want to thank everyone that's helped us out. I know like the Jarvis family's really helped us out, and a lot of the local companies. We got a lot of people that helped out with our raffle. Third Planet, Under Armour, Locals Eatery. That's a food truck that always nearby. So there's a lot of people to thank, and they're all over our flyer. And we couldn't have done it without the community that surrounds us. I'm just one person, and without all the coaches and the hard work and the community and the parents backing us, we want to be here, where I started at least in 2020 to where we are now, and